now more and more people, just as Key had predicted, are getting married to the thought of Zach Wilson, who, if you're a casual college football fan at this time a year ago, you had probably never heard of. You might have heard of Trevor Lawrence when he was playing at Cartersville High School in Georgia. But more and more people are now married to the thought that maybe, just maybe, as Key said, here come the storylines a week and a half out, that essentially Zach Wilson might be more pro-ready than Trevor Lawrence. It was first brought up a few days ago by Randy Mueller, part of the executive association that Mike's a part of, the front office clan that has gone into the media. Mike's done it. Randy's done it. He put it out there. And Chris Sims on the Adam Schefter podcast saying, put me in that group as well.
It's not an indictment on Trevor Lawrence. He's a really damn good football player. I'd love for him to be the quarterback of my football team. I just like Zach Wilson more. I look at Zach Wilson, and I think his high-end talent is greater than Trevor Lawrence, and I think he's got room to grow as a football player altogether.
And look, there's nothing wrong there, Mike, as you know what Chris Sims is saying. It's a different flavor for Chris Sims, and this is why everyone has an opinion about what they like. You know, some like Chris Sims coming out, some like me, some didn't like me. I mean, it just depends on what you like as a front office guy, general manager, scout, evaluator. And then in the end, if Trevor Lawrence is a can't-miss prospect, once-in-a-lifetime generational player, as everyone was saying early season of September 2020, then what the hell is Zach Wilson now if he's better than Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, and I like Chris Sims. He's a good guy, but one of the things that Chris Sims needs to remember, one of the areas he struggled is Chris Sims got hurt, and Zach Wilson's been hurt twice, guys. He missed 4 games in 2019 with his wrist. He had shoulder surgery, and if I'm the New York Jets and I'm Joe Douglas, I agree with everything they've done, but the one thing that would keep me up at night is he's had 2 significant injuries, and Key, you brought this up. You know, they've played, you know, on Power 5 schedule, so can he go through the rigors? And we got to get used to saying this, guys, a 17-game regular season. Can Zach Wilson answer the bell week in and week out over 17 games? And if the three of us owned and operated an NFL team and we looked at Trevor Lawrence physically next to Zach Wilson, I think the three of us would say reasonably over the next 10 years, Trevor Lawrence has a much greater chance of going through the rigors of an NFL season, playing 17 games year in and year out, than Zach Wilson, who's been hurt twice at BYU.
Injuries have always scared me, no matter what it is, whether it's in free agency, whether it's the draft. It's just one of those things, because if you're not healthy to be able to help your ball club and be there, then what good are you? And you know what Coach Parcells used to always say, MT, is you cannot help the club in the tub. And Zach Wilson certainly has a history of that, and Trevor Lawrence does not. I mean, so when you look at that, Trevor Lawrence has a body type that you love in the NFL. He's big, he's strong, he will fill out a little bit as time goes on. The only thing is what happens in Jacksonville. Is Jacksonville going to run a similar offense to some degree what we've seen at Ohio State at the pro level, where the quarterback takes a lot of pounding and hitting? Darrell Bevell comes over as the offensive coordinator. I don't necessarily know what they're going to install from an offensive standpoint, but Trevor Lawrence can make all the throws. He can do all the big boy stuff, and so can Zach Wilson. As I mentioned yesterday, Mike, what is Zach Wilson, though? When you start to look at, and when I look at film, I don't necessarily look at the opponent as much as I do the individual talent, but I also want to see who's chasing you. What type of players are we looking at? Are you being chased by a 5'11", 230-pound defensive end opposed to J.J. Watt? Is that how you are thriving in college football, or are you looking and staring down the gun barrel of guys out of Alabama and LSU on a weekly basis? Because I do factor that in.
Yeah, Key, it's a great point. You made it yesterday. I completely agree. And I went to go see Zach Wilson in person for that exact reason. And I'm a little concerned about that if he gets caught in the pocket and the pocket compresses on him, he does look small. And Key, again, when I look at Trevor Lawrence, he reminds me of one of the guys we know really well, Vinny Testaverde.
Yes.
A big, strong guy with a much bigger physical presence. So Zach Wilson, from a style standpoint, he actually reminds me a little bit of Johnny Manziel on the field, where he's dynamic outside the pocket, incredible accuracy, really good arm strength. But I agree, we're not playing Weber State, we're not playing Coastal Carolina. We have to go through some really good defenses in the AFC East, and guys like Dante Hightower coming back now, opting out. You know New England's going to be better on defense. And you know Coach Belichick, that he's going to say, hey, let's keep him in the pocket. Let's push the pocket. Let's compress it. And can Zach Wilson make that 3rd and 8th throw outside the numbers to his left, with 2 300-pound defensive tackles in his lap? And the only thing we don't know if he can do that. We think he can. From a Jet perspective, we hope he can. But that would be my one concern.
And he could survive, Mike, much like Mark Sanchez did for a couple years, where you play a solid, sound defense, you run the football, and you figure out how to stop people on special teams and wind up beating a lot of teams and getting into the playoffs. And then eventually you can mature as that quarterback and continue to grow. If they expect for him to come into the AFC East and do basically what you have to do at the number 2 spot immediately, I don't think that that's going to happen.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.